Recently, I've made a few videos highlighting the less than favorable aspects of driving for DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. I've discussed tip transparency, customer fraud, poverty base pay, and general manipulation from the various delivery services. I'll continue to use my small but growing voice on YouTube to call for more favorable driver conditions until we're viewed as human beings and not dollar signs. Having said that, it's important to me that I highlight the positive experiences as well as the negative. What is going on, everybody? My name is Zach. I hope you are doing well. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, please do consider pressing that like and subscribe button. If you are kind enough to subscribe, let me know in the comments section below. Tell me your name and the market you drive in, and I'll be sure to thank you at the end of my next ride-along video. I want to remind you, doing this type of work provides us far more flexibility and freedom than pretty much any W-2 out there. For example, when was the last time you had to ask DoorDash or Uber Eats permission to take a vacation? There's no such thing as having to awkwardly call in sick. Not to mention, we don't have an income cap. It boils down to our drive, hustle, and motivation. Let's talk about base pay for a moment. There's no sugarcoating it. Our base pay is almost nothing. It's by far less than a gallon of gas. Matter of fact, I can't remember the last time base pay was higher than the cost of a gallon of gas. Low base pay, coupled with DoorDash specifically encouraging low customer tips, not to mention hidden tips, ensures that those who don't take the time to educate themselves will make less than minimum wage. The pay structure was not designed for us to make a living wage. It was designed for them. DoorDash is training a generation of people to tip poorly for great service. If I go to a restaurant and my bill comes to $100 and I got decent service, I'm tipping $20. But unfortunately, it's all too common to see $100 worth of food ordered on DoorDash with a $2 customer tip. It's 2% of the total order. How is that acceptable? Not to mention allowed. A couple days ago, I opened my DoorDash app only to realize that they had more than doubled the size of my market. The way it used to be, it was approximately 12 miles from market start to market end. In other words, if you were to have driven the longest way possible, it would have been about 12 miles from market start to market end. Now, it's about 27 miles in one direction. It more than doubled in size. I'll give you one guess what didn't double. Base pay. If you've been driving for about a year, you may remember that DoorDash sent out an email last summer promising increased base pay for higher mileage orders. If you weren't aware of that, don't feel bad because it didn't happen. It was like a drunk promise that they regretted the next morning. Side note, a massive shout out to my friend GigLebowski, who keeps bringing this up in every video. In his words, they owe us all money. If you haven't checked out GigLebowski yet, I'll put a link to his channel in the description. So let's do a quick refresher. We have two companies with embarrassingly low base pay, both of which high tips exceeding a certain amount, and one of them encouraging low customer tips. In some cases, these are in markets that take an hour round trip. Transparency is not something that only drivers don't get. When customers get to the checkout screen, they're not provided with adequate information as to what fee is paying for what. In many cases, our customers don't know how little we're actually making. They just know if they press pay now, food is magically going to appear at their door. Admittedly, I used to get pretty irritated when I would see no tip orders come through. It's never not a move to tip for a service. And it's flat out disrespectful to not tip with gas at $5 a gallon or more in some areas. In many markets, you have to sit there and decline 20, 30 orders in a row just to make $1 per mile. That's not including the cheap fuckers who don't have enough common decency to drop us a few bucks for a service that they could have done for themselves. At this point, you may be thinking, did I read the title of the video wrong? The answer is no. Like all of you, I'm a human being who frequently gets frustrated with the less than living wage orders that are frequently served to us as an opportunity. I want to share a couple of experiences that I had with customers this week that really helped me keep things in perspective. About 4 days ago, I was sitting around declining bad order after bad order, getting frustrated, when finally Uber Eats sent me an order for $20 and change going one town north. The order was going 10.8 miles, and while it's technically just shy of the $2 per mile that I would currently like to see, it was close enough, and it was the best order I had seen all day, so I took it. It was supposed to be a leave it at the door order, but when I pulled up, the customer came out. She handed me a $5 bill and said, "Thank you. I know it's quite a drive, and gas is very expensive." I thanked her and told her I appreciate her. Admittedly, initially, this customer did not give me the warm fuzzies. Her words were kind, but her body language was standoffish. I thought for sure I was about to get tip baited. After the hour had passed, I was happy to see that wasn't the case. The customer's words were genuine, but I met them with cynicism because I've gotten so used to bad orders and the app's playing games. Fast forward to today, a Tuesday. As many of you know, Tuesdays are one of the slowest days of the week for drivers. So when we do get orders, a majority of them are garbage. It was about 2 o'clock and I decided to accept an $8 order going 4 miles. By DoorDash standards, not a bad order. Not to mention, it was the best order I had seen in hours, so I jumped on it. When I got to the restaurant, admittedly, I was annoyed to see that the order was mostly drinks. We all have our pet peeves. Drinks just happened to be one of mine. I don't have an adequate number of cup holders in my car to accommodate the number of drinks that this customer ordered. So I was steering, holding drinks, and shifting the entire way there, trying not to spill, getting even more irritated. I got to the drop-off, a pet grooming place, and it was a hand-it-to-me order. The customer, a brunette lady, that will be relevant in a moment, saw me walking up to her with her unnecessarily large number of drinks and greeted me with a huge smile. I made a little bit of small talk, cracked a joke, and assumed I'd be on my way. I assumed wrong. She asked me to wait for just a moment. The next thing I knew, I could see who I thought was my customer through a window, grooming a dog, pissing me off further. At that point, I thought, what the fuck am I waiting for? I'm embarrassed to admit, it was not the same brunette lady. Apparently, you all look alike. My customer came back and handed me an additional $4 in cash. She said, I tipped in the app, but you were fast and pleasant, and I wanted to give you a little extra thanks. And that was awesome, because underneath, I was fucking annoyed. So I'm glad it didn't show to my customer. To make matters better, this order contained a 75-cent hidden tip, making this order a total of $14.75. Really good by DoorDash standards. We can decline dozens of orders before we get one worth taking. We can do hundreds of orders before receiving a cash tip. We can have more bad days than good for long stretches at a time. But for me, when I get one of these customers, it makes it all worth it. I needed a reality check, and I was fortunate enough to get it twice this week in the form of 2 incredible customers who genuinely appreciated my time. I know it's easy to dwell on the negative, but we should also be focusing on the positive. I want to give a massive shout out to each and every one of you who motivate me, encourage me, and inspire me to keep making videos. I want to thank you all so much for being here with me. I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out one of my videos. If you haven't done so yet, please do press that like and subscribe button. If you are kind enough to subscribe, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me your name and the market you drive in, and I'll be sure to thank you at the end of my next ride-along video. My name is Zach. Take care.
And that.
Yes?